$72,000 in additional gross commission income in 18 days. That's one of the real estate marketing strategies one of our real estate clients used to generate this result. Now, if you haven't seen me before, my name is Pasi Poutanen and I run a company that invents and helps real estate clients to implement cutting-edge online marketing strategies to acquire listing clients for real estate businesses. So in this video, I want to walk you through step-by-step of what our client did in this marketing strategy so you can do the same thing for your business and get even better results for your own real estate marketing. So let me walk you through the context of this real estate agent's business. So before we run any of these strategies, this is the situation. So she had a market of around 150,000 people. And most of these people, they were coming from sphere of influence and referrals. And that was basically the most of the business. Now what happened essentially is that the market in general, it got down. So as you know, back in 2020, right, we had the big boom, but then the market started to slow down. And obviously then things got tighter, right? Because no longer the sphere of influence would generate that many deals. And basically what happened is that she had to expand out of her sphere if she really wanted to keep the same level of income. Now, what she did is that she did try, before any paid ads, before any social media stuff, right? She did try to do cold calling, so cold prospecting, also some traditional marketing such as mailers and things like that. What happened with these is that these things basically did not get her the results that she wanted, but then also she noticed that the business itself was pretty tough to run, right? With cold calling, door knocking on a daily basis, that was just not something she preferred to build her business upon. So this is the situation she was in, and this is where she got started from. Now, once she went through this phase, it was time to switch things up due to those things I mentioned to you earlier. So the phase number one is she started to implement a Facebook ad strategy, so Facebook paid advertising strategy to acquire listing clients. Now, the offer she used with those is that it was a real estate report from our property, so that was really the offer she was running. And the way that it worked, essentially, there was an ad over on Facebook. From the ad, it went to a landing page, so it's called a property valuation funnel. And then from the property valuation funnel, there is an option to people to book a inbound call. So book a call to her counter. Now, in addition to this, she was also doing outbound calls. So what outbound call is essentially is that as a lead comes in and they opt in to become a lead where they fill the survey to talk with a real estate agent. Now we call that lead once they have filled out a survey. And essentially that was the process she was running. So the homeowners would see the ad, they would fill out a survey, and then part of those homeowners, they would book a call, and then the other part would not book a call. Basically from the inbound calls, they would hop on a phone call at that time when they booked the meeting for. And then from the outbound calls, we would call them themselves. So she would call the leads and then try to set an appointment. So from both of these methods, she was able to convert listing appointments. So the way that worked is after the phone conversation. If it made sense after qualification process, conversations about motivations, things like that, she would go on a listing appointment and then close that into a listing agreement. Now, this is the process she ran first, and she noticed that immediately as she started to launch this funnel, started to launch this process, is obviously her leads, the amount of people that came through on a daily basis. From before, they skyrocketed, right? Because with this funnel, she was able to generate up to 100 listing leads per month, about 3 per day. And for each person, she had to create a personalized real estate report and also conduct in either an inbound phone conversation or an outbound for conversation. So at the beginning, this was great. So there's tons of leads, right? A lot of leads. Now, when she called us lead, there was a problem with that. So there's just too many leads. So there's a problem that most real estate agents rarely face, but there's just too many. So too many leads that she had to go through. And the problem is that even though people filled out a survey, right, not all of these people were necessarily as engaged or necessarily as warm as they could be, right? She knew that there is something that she wanted to get better, and about 5% of these leads actually then converted into listing appointments. So if she had 100 leads over here at the beginning, over 5 of them would now be a listing appointment. So still pretty good, about 5 listing appointments a month. But the problem here was that these 100 leads part, this was the issue because now, right, every day she would create 3 real estate reports, call on a monthly basis about 100 people, right? So just a lot of work, a lot of input that she had to put in personally. So she couldn't just keep up with this any longer. And we noticed that okay, this was great at the beginning. Okay, this is great, right? We had about 5 listing appointments, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, we cannot scale this higher, right, without doing anything else. So she had to find a point of, we had a conversation basically about this, about how to solve this problem. And there's basically 2 options. So option number 1 is obviously you can hire, it's called like an appointment setter. So what an appointment setter would do, right, is that this would be an external person that would actually call these leads instead of her. So she would have a person, hire a person then, and then they would do it for her to create these appointments and set these appointments. And then path number 2 was to actually build a ad strategy. So not hire a person, right, but instead put the resources towards creating a new ad strategy that would allow her to convert higher percentage of these leads. Because now we had about 5% conversion rate from a listing lead to an appointment, but obviously we can still increase that, right? It can still be better. And so what she decided to do was go for the path number 2, because the path with appointment setter, right, it can be great, but as you probably can imagine, right, when you hire a person, they're not gonna be you, right? They're not gonna have the same skills as you. You still have to manage the person, right? So hiring an appointment setter, it still costs money, right? There's all these downsides. As with ad strategy, you can just build it once, right? And it's gonna run there for you, right? So if you just fix that piece, you won't need a new appointment setter or an appointment setter at all. So that's why she opted in for strategy number 2. So she built a new ad strategy, and with that new ad strategy, we decided to switch this beginning part. So as we know, this was the first part of the ad that determined the leads that came in, and these were Facebook ads. So instead of Facebook ads, she would now go to running YouTube ads. So going from Facebook to running YouTube ads was a big shift for her, because with Facebook ads, we could just use text and picture-based ads. And these text and picture-based ads, they were fairly, I would say like fairly duplicatable, in a sense that we already had tested text ads, we already had done picture ads, so we already knew, okay, this is the types of ads that are probably gonna work for you. And we were able to just put it into her marketing campaign. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But with YouTube ads, what came into play was video. And then our client had never done any videos before. It was the first thing ever. And she was basically at the beginning pretty uncomfortable on video. It didn't seem like something that would kind of come naturally to her. It wasn't like she did videos before. This was the first thing ever and felt very kind of like intimidating in a sense. But she decided to do it anyway because she did get the help, right? We did have the scripts, we did have the processes, we did have all those things. Basically, all she had to do was record the videos and then put her own twist to it, own personality to it, these types of things. So she recorded the videos, we set up the funnel, we set up the process, and we started to run these ads. And this basically meant 2 things. So first of all, as we started to run these ads, there was 2 main issues with these Facebook ads. So the first issue with Facebook ads was the fact that we can't really target people in a very specific way. So if you have ever run Facebook ads before, there's just 50-mile radius, and that's all you can do for targeting. So there's nothing like, as far as like specific targeting that you can actually do. So with YouTube, that allowed us to fix that. So with YouTube, you could actually target people in very high detail. And now we could target people that specifically were looking to make a move. So these are the people that in the local real estate market, and they were actually interested in selling a house and buying a home. Now, since the ads themselves, they are on YouTube, that of course, again, meant that they had to be video ads. But with video ads, we could target also people just based on the video, the people that were actually interested in her specifically. Because before, with text and picture-based ads, it's just a text and picture, right? So there's nothing that really gets people to know you right before you actually talk to them. With video ads, they would already know her, like they would already see her videos, they would already hear about her, know about her, right? So there's that trust element. Even before we had that phone conversation, they were already familiar with her. So this allowed us to solve these 2 things, so targeting, but then also the sort of like the warmth and like the relevancy of the leads. They become a lot better as well. So with YouTube ads, we were able to fix these 2 things. So now we started to run these ads, and she crushed it right off the gate. So basically, first 18 days, what happened is that she generated herself 14 listing leads. And from these 14 listing leads, as you know, right, the cost per lead was higher. So with Facebook, we would pay something around $20 to $30 per lead. With YouTube, we would pay $150 per lead. So the cost per lead was a lot higher compared to Facebook. But the interesting thing that happened actually is that as we looked through the results in the 18 days, in terms of like actual conversions, in terms of actual results. So from these 14 listing leads, she closed on 6 listing appointments, and from these 6 listing appointments, she closed on 4 listing agreements. So this was a completely different process compared to Facebook, because now we had basically a lot less work, right? We only had 14 people we had to deal with to create reports for, 14 people we only had to talk to, and from these 14 people, we were able to get 43% onto a listing appointment. And from these 6 listing appointments, she converted 4 listing agreements. So all the listing appointments she went to, right, they're pretty good. They were high in quality. So from these 4 listing agreements, the commission value was about $72,000. And this all happened in about 18 days. So extremely powerful. Now, a couple key takeaways for you as a real estate agent from this case study. So first of all, if you want to get leads outside of your sphere of influence, right, you want to get deals outside of SOI, which is the original point our client started from, as you notice right over here. If you want to get out of this little bubble, well, the first thing you gotta notice is that cold calling is not likely going to result into a rapid lead flow. Again, there's certain personality types. If you are that kind of person that likes cold calling or likes door knocking, right, it just comes naturally to you, yes, that can definitely work, but it's still, oftentimes, it's not going to be the fastest way to get you where you want to go. Now, second piece is that systems thinking is key. So as we noticed, we were running this strategy with Facebook before, and this was working pretty well. I mean, she got deals from it, it was going well, but at a certain point, you have to see, okay, what is the bottleneck? What are we looking at? Because we noticed with this funnel, when we crunch through the numbers, we noticed the bottleneck. And the bottleneck was not that the ads weren't working, it was not that the funnel wasn't working, it was not any of these things. The actual bottleneck was just the time spent working with these leads. So when we noticed that bottleneck, we realized that we did not have to change a whole lot, right? We did not have to build a new funnel, we didn't have to record new ads, or we didn't have to build a new system, anything like that. All we had to do was fix that one problem, right, which was the quality of the leads, quality of the conversations, and we were able to do that by switching the platform and the ad type we were running. So a lot of times people tend to have this kind of like a shiny object syndrome where something doesn't work out, right, and they just test a random tool. They just buy a tool, or they just buy a program, or they just buy a random solution, right? Now, what you want to be looking at whenever you make a solution, whenever you make a change in your marketing, right, make that solution based on what the problem is. Because here we were able to look at the bottleneck, the exact problem we wanted to fix, and then based off that, craft the solution that caused the deals to go up. So systems thinking is key. Look at the process from a high level, know your numbers, see what's going on, and then make your marketing decisions, marketing strategy decisions based on that. And lastly, to get the highest quality of leads with paid advertising, right, you want to focus on YouTube ads compared to Facebook ads. So it's just a blunt truth. If you want higher lead quality, it will be more often than not over on YouTube. But if you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of experience, and you have more time, Facebook ads is still a good way to go. You can still get leads, you can still get these deals closed. But if you are in a stage in your career where you just don't have a lot of time, you want to have high quality sellers, YouTube ads will honestly be the way to go. That's how you're going to be able to get there. And with YouTube ads, it is a little bit tougher process, right? We had to record videos, we had to set up a new strategy, right? There's a testing period, there's all these things that go into YouTube ads. They are a little bit more complex. I'm not gonna say otherwise, but having said this, it's totally worth it when you know exactly how to do it and you get this process up and running. Now, having said this, if this type of stuff interests you and you'd like to know more about which type of marketing you should use for your exact real estate business, because honestly, this really depends on your target market, your personality, right, your skill set, the clients you want to attract. Not every single person is exactly the same, right? Different markets are different, different realtors are different. If you'd like to get exact customized game plan for yourself, I'll put a link in the bio where you can actually book a free kind of like one-to-one strategy session where we go over exactly what you're doing with your marketing, your market, and analyze a solution for that that's going to work specifically for you to get the listing clients that you want in the way that you want. So hopefully this case study was useful, you found this valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.